Could eating fish raise your stroke risk? The truth. Few people know. Have you ever thought that just a single bite of fish, yes, fish, could quietly raise your risk of stroke without you realizing it? For decades, we've been told fish is healthy, great for the heart, good for the brain, easy on the stomach. And much of that is true. Fish is rich in omega-3s and often recommended by doctors. But here's the catch. Once you pass 60, your body doesn't process things the way it used to. Depending on the type of fish, how it's prepared, or even how it's preserved, what seems like a healthy choice can actually work against your blood vessels and raise your blood pressure, setting the stage for a stroke. Let's walk through some of the most common fish dishes. You might be surprised to see a few of your favorites on the list, and even more relieved to know there are safer, tastier alternatives. Smoked salmon. Elegant, but salt-heavy. When people think of salmon, they usually imagine a heart-healthy, nutrient-rich fish, but smoked salmon tells a different story. Just 2 ounces carry over 600 milligrams of sodium, about 1/3 of the daily limit in only a couple of bites. Salt is the silent enemy of blood pressure, and high blood pressure is the #1 risk factor for stroke. The American Heart Association has shown that even modest sodium reductions can significantly cut stroke risk, especially in older adults. Yet how often do we pause to consider this when we spread smoked salmon and cream cheese on a morning bagel? The fix is simple. If you love salmon, bake or grill fresh fillets with a drizzle of olive oil, a squeeze of lemon, and some herbs. You'll still enjoy the omega-3s without the hidden salt bomb. Pickled herring. Nostalgic, but dangerous. For many families of European heritage, pickled herring is a holiday staple, but just 2 ounces can pack over 700 milligrams of sodium, even more than smoked salmon. Pickling isn't just about flavor, it's a preservation method where salt does the heavy lifting. A slice here and there might not matter, but when it becomes part of a regular routine, blood pressure gradually climbs. A Journal of Clinical Hypertension study confirmed that frequent consumption of heavily salted foods is linked to higher rates of hypertension and cardiovascular events. Want to keep the tradition alive? Opt for fresh herring, lightly grilled or baked. If you do indulge in pickled herring occasionally, balance it with low-sodium meals the rest of the day. Fried fish. Crispy outside, risky inside. Few things are more comforting than a piece of golden fried mackerel or cod. But once fish hits the fryer, the health benefits vanish. Deep frying introduces harmful trans fats and oxidized oils that damage the lining of your arteries and promote plaque buildup. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition reported that people who ate fried fish regularly faced a 37% higher risk of stroke compared to those who rarely did. That's a staggering number for something many of us grew up eating at diners, family gatherings, or Friday fish fries. It's not just the oil. Refined flour in the breading and reused cooking oil at restaurants add even more inflammation. If you crave that crunch, try baking or air frying fish with a light coating of olive oil and herbs. You'll get the texture you love without the artery-clogging consequences. Swordfish, the mercury problem. Unlike salty fish, swordfish is risky for another reason: mercury. Both the FDA and EPA warn older adults to limit or avoid swordfish because it contains some of the highest mercury levels of any fish. Mercury doesn't leave the body quickly. It builds up over time, increasing oxidative stress, harming nerves, and damaging blood vessels. For people over 60, whose arteries are already more sensitive, this is especially concerning. A study in the Journal of Environmental Health found that higher mercury levels in older adults were linked to poorer vascular function and a higher incidence of stroke. Safer choices? Swap swordfish for salmon, rainbow trout, or other low-mercury species. They're just as hearty and delicious without the hidden toxin. Fried cod. Fish and chips. But with a catch in Britain and across the US, fried cod with fries is a beloved classic. Cod itself is lean, high in protein, and low in fat. But when battered, fried, and often cooked in reused oil, it becomes something else entirely. The British Medical Journal found that eating fried fish more than once a week was associated with higher levels of arterial plaque. Add in tartar sauce, salt, and fries, and your comfort food becomes a dangerous overload of sodium and unhealthy fats. A better version? Bake cod with olive oil, garlic, and paprika. You'll enjoy all the flavor and none of the vascular stress. Hash anchovies, tiny but packed with salt. Anchovies often slip under the radar, mashed into Caesar dressing, tucked into pizza toppings, or blended into savory sauces. But 5 small fillets contain over 700 milligrams of sodium, nearly half the daily limit for most older adults. The danger is that you might not even realize you're eating them. Hidden salt adds up quickly, silently raising blood pressure. Research published in Stroke found that reducing daily sodium intake by just 1,000 milligrams could lower stroke risks by up to 20% in older adults. Love that salty umami flavor? Try olives or sun-dried tomatoes instead. They deliver the punch without overloading your arteries. Chilean sea bass. Luxurious but mercury-heavy Chilean sea bass often shows up on high-end restaurant menus, praised for its rich, flaky texture. But like swordfish, it can contain dangerously high mercury levels. Long-term studies and environmental research reveal that consistent consumption of high-mercury fish like sea bass is associated with measurable declines in vascular function among older adults. Over months and years, mercury drives inflammation, oxidative stress, and stiffened arteries, prime conditions for clots and strokes. If you enjoy sea bass, limit it to a rare indulgence, perhaps once every few months. Or better yet, stick with safer low-mercury options like sardines or flounder. Haddock, cod's cousin with the same risks. Haddock, often swapped for cod in fish and chips, carries the same problems once fried. Thick batter, reused oil, and long cooking times create a cocktail of toxic byproducts like aldehydes and trans fats. These compounds travel through your bloodstream, damaging arteries and encouraging plaque buildup. A 2020 study in the Journal of the American Heart Association confirmed that frequent fried food consumption was linked to higher stroke risk, especially among adults over 65. Want the taste without the danger? Bake haddock with a light panko crust or poach it in broth. You'll still enjoy a comforting meal without feeding inflammation. The bottom line, it's not the fish, it's the preparation. The lesson here isn't that fish is bad. It's that the way we prepare it can make all the difference. Smoking, pickling, deep frying, or choosing mercury-laden species can turn a healthy meal into a quiet threat. The good news? A few small changes can protect your heart and brain while still letting you enjoy seafood. Choose baking, grilling, steaming, or air frying instead of deep frying. Flavor with herbs, lemon, garlic, or olive oil instead of heavy salt. Pick low-mercury fish like salmon, trout, or sardines. Save high-risk fish for rare occasions instead of weekly habits. At 60 and beyond, every meal is a chance to invest in your health. It's never too late to change. A plate of grilled salmon with lemon and herbs can be just as satisfying as fried fish and chips, and infinitely kinder to your arteries. Your choices today could mean more healthy years ahead to spend with the people you love.